This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.
The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we encourage you to like and share them on Facebook because it's time for JOANNE'S World of Nutrition. It's old-time rock and roll time. Joanne Seeger.
That's right. I know. Augusto Seeger. Maybe I should have got that abbreviation.
How about Joanne A. Seeger?
Nice. Hello. Good morning, Cliff. Good morning, listeners. Good morning, everybody. Woo, that was a whirlwind out there with that traffic, and it seemed like I caught every red light.
How'd you get here so fast?
Woo, oh, my Lord. Well, hey, everyone. I hope you guys are having a great morning and staying warm in this frigid Floridian climate. Yeah.
Ooh.
Please, we have nothing to complain about.
Absolutely.
Oh, nothing. Never.
We're just kidding, right?
Yeah, let's get that negativity out about the weather. Oh,
Yeah.
it's like I definitely think
It's positively cold in some places.
Yeah, holy moly. My son's like, Mom, can we put the heat on this morning? I'm like, no. I put it on for him last night for a couple hours, but, we're trying to see, like, how low our electric bill can go, and it's kind of like this little experiment we're running in the Seeger household, and it's kind of hysterical. Did you know that when you pull up FP&L, I know here in Fort Pierce we have a different electric company, but it's so cool. It tells you by hour graphs, like what you're spending. And all of a sudden, like if I do a load of laundry, of course the graph goes way up. But it's really cool. Like you can get really into it if you want to see what's
really
going on.
Frugal and watch that dryer and watch that water heater.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, wait. Cut that shower back, do less laundry.
And the magnetic seal on your refrigerator, watch out for that. If that breaks, you're going to compromise the cooling in there and it's going to run too much.
Yeah, we were watching this documentary last night on, alternative sources of energy, and there was one part where the company comes in your home and sees where electricity is being wasted, not even utilized, just totally wasted. And there was his AC intake, I think it was. There was some type of leakage, and it was like dollars just blown away every day for not being
Do you find
sealed
yourself
correctly.
Walking in the house and shutting stuff off?
Well, actually, Matt always beats me to it.
I'm
He's
notorious
really
for that,
good.
yeah.
He's really good. Well, with 4 kids, they're always leaving stuff on. But
well, adults are just as bad.
He's probably listening right now and walking through the house, holding
off.
his smartphone, listening to me, and shutting everything off since I left.
Way to go, Matt. All right.
You go. I love you, honey. All right. So, everyone, let's do the breathing exercise of the morning. If I have any newbies listening, welcome to the show. We do a quick exercise. We breathe in through our nose for 5, hold for 5, and exhale through our noses for another 5.
These are 5 seconds, not 5
minutes. And because I'm running a little late, Cliff, we'll only do it 2 times, but we must do it because I need to focus and center and catch my breath.
Folks, it can be accomplished in a minute or less if you need to.
Here we go.
Okay, stand by and take your first let it all out.
Yeah, all the yuck out. All the red light nonsense. Okay, here we go.
Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Isn't that feel better?
It still amazes me how quickly you can regroup
with
just doing that breathing exercise.
You could do it for 12 hours. I mean, either way.
I really hope people do that exercise because it's so easy and it's wonderful. Mm-hmm. Well, I have a couple announcements to make for the store. So Valentine's Day is coming up, which I can't believe. Like, we're already into February. Yeah, well, tomorrow's the 1st, so you got a couple weeks before Valentine's Day. So 2 weeks for any spouses, especially new spouses, to go out and buy lots of yummy, healthy chocolate and special stuffed
new
animals.
Say you got
hint,
married
hint,
recently.
hint. But I have a couple specials. So the first one actually is E-Shots. So E-Shots are a product that I use. And when you hit that afternoon lull or even a morning lull, but the afternoon lull seems to happen to everyone,
An
where all
equivalent
of a
of like
sudden.
a power type of drink?
Well,
or-
it's kind of like what are those called? The little things you buy at the gas station. They're
don't-
like, oh gosh, they're famous. They're everywhere.
It's like the Red
I
Cow.
just Red Bull. But oh my God, of a 5-hour energy, 5-hour
Okay.
energy shot.
I didn't want to
Yeah.
plug that because I didn't want anybody to think that you were selling that.
Oh, I see. Well, you know me,
Yeah.
I'm bad with being
But if you want something that's
politically
good
correct.
for you.
Yeah, so an e-shot is an adaptogenic drink because it seems like human beings between the hours of 2 and 4, they get a little overwhelmed with either trying to finish their day or running to car lines, whatever their life is like. And all of a sudden, it's coffee, it's a sugary candy bar, it's a smoothie. It's something that basically has a lot of sugar or a stimulant of caffeine or sorts to hype them up and get them through their second part of the day. Not a great way to treat your adrenal glands, which are these cute little glands in your body that are responsible for your energy control. So the e-shot is an adaptogenic drink, still gives you energy, but it doesn't stimulate your nervous system so you don't get that high and low. It's this nice even energy. So for the first 20 customers after hearing this special, you're going to get a free e-shot. Okay, so you come in and say, I want my free e-shot, which has about a $4 value. Okay, so
You have
that's
a little
the first
e-bar
special.
in there for it?
It's just a liquid little shot.
Yeah.
And then the other Valentine's special is I have the infrared sauna and I have the ion foot detox. Normally, it's in the same room, in the same treatment room, and it's normally $25 each. So if you come in as a couple, you can get both for $25. So if you want, so any two services. So now if you do the sauna together, that's normally only $25. You can share the sauna for only $25.
Okay.
But if one person doesn't want to do a sauna and because doesn't want to get hot or sweaty, one person can do a sauna, one can do a foot detox, and it'll still only be $25. So
Cool.
kind of like
Okay.
buy one get one free.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the February Valentine's specials.
Yay.
All right, and so today's topic is why take supplements. I honestly had a lot of new customers on Tuesday. I'm not sure what it was about Tuesday, but I had a lot of new faces and I was thrilled. And many of them I found brought in or told me about what they had at home. And I was kind of concerned because I really thought people understood about some of the differences between stuff you can get at big box stores or at drugstores versus health food stores. But I find out that there is still some confusion. So today's show, I hope, will maybe bring to light some of the truths about the differences with supplements. And then the other thing that concerns me is a lot of people, if they go on the internet, the information there is so misleading about supplements. And a lot of it is incorrectly done so to not take money out of the drug industry pockets.
Oh,
So-
working hand in hand with the
Yes.
pharmaceutical industry against us. huh?
Yes, so basically, supplements are very dangerous and all you need to do is eat 3 balanced meals a day. So pretty much that's the gist of what the pharmaceutical industry is trying to get across on the internet. And
The
it's
other
really
thing,
easy
the
to
other
mislead.
Thing, you know what they're trying to mislead us all about is the vaping.
Oh,
Because
don't get me started on that. We should
yeah.
have a whole show on how dangerous that is.
Yeah. Now, well, they don't want the kids to vape. And that's not the reason they don't want to vape is because they want them hooked on the cigarettes. They don't make any money when the kids are vaping.
Right. Well, the whole thing is really our children shouldn't be doing any of it.
Because those are
yeah.
vaping nicotine, right?
Yes. Well, the problem there's dangers with anything you're going to put into your lungs. Even if back if you take traditional herbs and stuff and you start smoking them, your lungs are going to take in that smoke. So it doesn't matter what you burn. You burn a candle, you burn incense, you burn nicotine. Whatever you start burning, especially
Dinner.
if there's a carrier paper or a carrier oil, which is normally propylene glycol, run. It is not safe for you and especially not safe for your developing child. So if you're, gosh forbid, your 12-year-old's like, yeah, all the kids are vaping in school. That's what our kids say. Like they literally see their friends leaving school and and sucking on a vape pen and blowing these clouds of white smoke that are vanilla scented. And
Very
I have
much
to tell you,
more smoke than regular
yeah,
cigarettes.
and
Just like
I fell
100
for it
times
for a
smoke.
moment. I really did. You know, I was like, okay, well, if you do it once in a blue moon and all your other friends, and I don't know, I must have been in some kind of psychotic coma to say that. But really, it's dangerous. It's not safe. And yes, all the kids are doing it. But if one parent says no and then the next parent says no, then all the kids won't be doing it, and we'll put an end to this nonsense.
Now, we're not talking about
All right,
CBD.
Cliff, you got me going on a really passionate subject.
I understand that.
Yeah, you got me going, and that should be a whole topic
Yeah,
show.
we'll do
Yes,
that
Cliff
soon.
is right. Whatever your kids do, even if it's alternative cigarettes that they say everything's natural in it, if you light up a piece of paper, trust me, folks, your lungs do not like it. Okay, so just stay away from anything that puffs and smokes or anything, if you can, please. All right, so on the internet, they basically are still touting the same slogans from years ago, which is, well, just eat your 3 balanced meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you will be just fine. Well, that is so misleading and so false that it's not even funny. And I don't know how anyone can believe that anymore, because as a country, and I hate to be negative, it's just not my personality type, but people are coming in sicker and sicker and on more medications and at a younger age. We have 35-year-olds now living on antacids, living on blood pressure drugs, already on statins. They already need things to help with their libido and their sex life because they do not have the stamina that they did, when they were 20, and that's 35-year-olds. It used to be 60 before I used to hear about these things. Now it's 35, and it really gets me upset because do I want to be able to tell people like I used to 35 years ago? Oh, I study macrobiotics. Macrobiotics, the foundation is you take no supplements. So when I was taught nutrition, it was from the belief system, you get everything from your food. You eat wholesome food. You live a wholesome lifestyle. You get outdoors. You move your body. And back then, that's what I did. I didn't take one single supplement. But now we are full of foods that have pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, genetically modified material that we don't even know the origin from. We are working 2 jobs sometimes, or a really long hours at our main job. We're indoors. We're on technology 24/7. It's completely different now. So that's the reality. That old adage, oh, but my grandparents lived till they were 101, or my parents, they lived a different life. Even what I saw 30 years ago is not what I'm seeing today. All these cases of ADD, ADHD, autism, Alzheimer's, dementia, all these digestive disorders. I wasn't taught these things because they were so rare. Now, everybody comes in. Thyroid disorders, osteoporosis. So please, I know we all want to believe we can just do our muffin in the morning and our little salad in the afternoon with our yogurt and our little piece of fish with broccoli and some grain on the side and live happily ever after. But unfortunately, those days are gone, okay? And I wish they weren't, because it would make life for me and all of my customers so much easier. But we do have to supplement our diets. Now the problem is choosing the right supplements. I have said on the show so many times, when you're buying food in the grocery stores, never go by the front of the labels. They have these huge consumer groups that get paid a lot of money to put just the right color, just the right typeset, just the right keywords to get your attention. They know what you're looking for. They are paid a lot of money to position that word natural in just the right place, or light, or sugar-free, or diet. They know what you want to see. Everything right now is, say, low net carb or low sugar, whatever it is for that season or that time, they know what you're looking for. So that's what the front of the labels will say. But that matters not. It doesn't matter. Fancy natural looking bottles, they look like they just came off someone's backyard patio. No. turn around your packaging and look at the labels. And it's the same thing with the supplements. I get asked over and over, Joanne, your store used to be so big. Why do you have so little supplements now? Why? Because if I'm not going to personally ingest it, I'm not going to sell it. And that's how I think. And even my store, it's hard to find perfect in every category. So there's some categories I'm going to cover a little bit later that there's still things that I won't personally take, but I tell everyone that's about to buy it why I wish they would choose something differently. But some people are really following a routine that they started many, many years ago and unwilling to change. So I do give them that choice. But you really want to check your labels of anything you're going to put inside your body or really on your skin. But today we're talking about supplements and what the label says, not necessarily what you're getting. So let's first start with the real basics, okay? Now, some of the larger stores are carrying clean supplements, okay? Some of the companies that do have integrity and have been around for a long time have sold to some of the bigger stores. But this is the crazy part, and I know this to be true because I worked for one of the larger manufacturers, that when large companies seek out popular supplement companies or food manufacturers, they say to them, okay, well, I see that your product X is very popular in this category, so we would like to put our house brand label on your product. And the company gets super excited and they're like, wow, I can't believe it. We made it to the big time. We're going to get to go into hundreds of stores, so much money. They start doing the happy dance. And then the guy with the suit says, but hold on just 1 second. We realize that at the health food stores, those bottles are like $35, and we don't think our customers will pay that much. So we need to make some changes so we can sell them for, say, $19.99 instead of $35. How do we do that? Well, then the manufacturers go, well, we really don't want to change our formula. It's what makes us popular, but we really want to be in your stores because that's so much money. So how about let's start with maybe different packaging. Instead of glass bottles, we can go to plastic, okay? Not a big deal to the main consumer, but if you're someone that knows the dangers of plastics and how they gas off and all the chemicals in it, maybe not so great, but glass, very expensive and heavier shipping cost. So there they go. They go to plastic. And then they say, well, still didn't cut off enough. All right, well, if we basically make it where we don't put as much of this ingredient, because this is really expensive, say instead of the special B12, we put the cheaper B12, that will make it cheaper. And then they start going down the list to make it where that product's more affordable. But then the consumer that's used to seeing these things at the health food store see the brand at the big box store and go, oh, wow, that's so much cheaper. I'll get it here. And then, bam, they don't realize that it's not the exact same product. And the way you make sure you are buying the same exact product at different places is the UPC is a legal number that's tied to every single manufacturer batch. So just check the numbers, because not in every case are things different, but that's how you know if they're making an inferior product, is just check the UPC number. If it exactly matches, and sometimes they only change one tiny digit to throw you off, but just check every single number, even the check digits from the front to the last. So that's something to look for. Now, normally, some of the quick tricks that big manufacturers do to save money but also kind of ruin a supplement is they put fillers in. So fillers basically take space up in a tablet or a capsule, but they ruin the integrity of the product. So a lot of fillers might be propylene glycol, which is huge in the CBD market right now. All these companies are throwing propylene glycol in, which is like the number one ingredient in cleaning supplies, and they can call it natural because it's from petroleum, which is from the earth. But it's carcinogenic, it's extremely dangerous, and never meant to be ingested. But a lot of these expeller, if they're not doing CO2 extraction with their CBD, these machines need carriers. They need, just like if you operate machinery, you need oil or else the machine will break. So it's the same exact thing. Propylene glycol, super cheap. They can get tons of it for pennies, so that's why they use it. And there's also fillers that are dry. They're starches, so they do maltodextrins. Now, you can get maltodextrins that are really, really dangerous, and then some are a lot less dangerous. And then some put a touch in, just necessary to make a tablet. Oh my God, I'm tongue-tied. To make tablets, it's the machine to make tablets, to make those tablets not stick. So just like if you were making some cupcakes or muffins, you had to spray the pan to get the muffins out. These machines are just like that, but picture, they're huge, and they're in these huge facilities. And when I worked for the manufacturer, my mind was blown about how they had to be real precise, because obviously, sometimes how, you clean your muffin pan out, you might get lazy and leave a few traces of the old batch here and there after they bake. Well, you can't do that in a facility. If the facilities are governed, even though everyone thinks they're not, they are governed and they do get checked. So these stainless steel machines must be pristinely clean and sterilized after every use. So they have to use some type of coatings or flow agents to make these big machines work. There's no way to make it perfect. But there are companies that spend tons of money making less of those fillers, starchers, coatings, and waxes than others. So for instance, that's why my store has tons of Garden of Life and Terry Naturally. Again, not absolutely perfect, because that doesn't exist if you're going to put a supplement that will stay fresh on the shelf, but much better than any others. So you want to look for things that say, whole food or food-based, no fillers, no stabilizers. If you see fancy colors on the outside of your pills, that's a sign, walk away, If it's a gummy, unless it's Garden of Life is the only gummy that's made outside this country that's clean that I have ever seen. And that includes CBD gummies, everyone. So I know they're so exciting right now and everyone's lining up for gummies, but they're full of so much stuff that made us unhealthy in the first place. That's why we need the CBD. So if you have pain, you have inflammation, you have disease concerns, don't ingest the reason why you have the condition in the first place to try to treat it. It really gets me upset, because artificial colors are known carcinogenic and known dangerous to us. Do not ingest more trying to correct your health problem. Do the straight oil. Stay away from the propylene glycol. Put it under your tongue. Wow, I keep talking about CBD. You can tell it's the hottest subject right now. It's like I go over that spiel like almost. Poor Jen, I call the CBD oil queen at the store. Okay. I mean, that poor girl literally has to say the same information over and over again, sometimes, 30, 40 times a day.
Well, she had to study that information first.
She's passionate about it. I mean, she's read everything, listened to everything. She has a few mentors that are really great in the industry, and she is like a CBD oil queen. But, it gets like where you really want to help people, and there's so many people out there that are doing it for the money that never were in the health field. They're just trying to make a quick buck. And online, people are getting ripped off every day and being sold just industrial hemp oil, and it's just making me upset. So really, please, guys, be careful of what you buy. So we're trying to find supplements that are clean. Like I said, sometimes it's not hidden, the answers. If you turn it over on the ingredients, they'll have the big panel that looks like what it contains in big bold, but then it'll say other ingredients underneath it, so small that you might need a magnifying glass. Bring one with you when you're shopping and check it out. Like I said, hard to find perfect. You'll find a little bit there, but sometimes they'll add red dyes, yellow dyes, titanium dioxide. The list goes on to try to make things taste good, look good. The coatings are so thick, it's like paint. The pills are literally dunked in these buckets, and they look like paint buckets. And so natural companies will use like beeswax, like a natural material that the digestive system can recognize and break down before 13 minutes. That's the goal of the health food industry, is that tablets and capsules will break down even in the toughest digestive systems. But the other groups, they don't have that rule. So they'll just do it so it tastes really good as you swallow it. So they'll coat it with like artificial flavorings and thick gelatins and coatings, so that way, gosh forbid you ever taste a supplement or smell it. But yeah, then your body has to now deal with chemicals and poisons that it's trying to take a supplement to correct in the first place. It seems kind of ridiculous to me. So if it looks real pretty and smells real pretty, definitely return it and buy something natural. All right, so if you're thinking right now as you're listening to me, and maybe you don't listen to me often, well, I don't know who this girl Joanne is, but my doctor says I don't need supplements. And again, just eat natural.
That's been a war going on for quite some time.
Yes, but this is the part that I really find really ridiculous. Even our own government says that we're supposed to be having 9 servings of fruit and vegetables a day, which even the most updated thing says, like, say, half a plate full a couple times a day. I know even in myself and my own family, that is almost impossible in our daily grind. So if the government is saying to do this to stay healthy, how are consumers following this? So if that's what you need to do to avoid the need for supplements, then I'd say every human being needs a supplement, because unless you have your garden in the back and you're making all these delicious fruits and vegetables, which I know there's people out there that are doing that, and I commend them, and I wish they'd come to my house and help me do it. But it's really, really tough to get all the nutrients that you need from your food. Our soil is not what it used to be, like I mentioned earlier, and there are over 300 different pesticides, herbicides, and chemicals used. So definitely be aware that you do need the supplements in the diet that's available to most of us. Oh, we have a caller, then Cliff, after the caller, we'll go on a quick break, okay? Good morning, Eddie.
Hi, good morning. I just had a couple of quick questions for you. First one being, are you familiar, or does somebody at your store know about compatibilities? In other words, mixing different medicines or vitamins, for instance, with the things that you're taking that are prescribed by, like the VA or something like that, for instance. Would you be able to tell?
You mean mixing supplements with prescriptions?
Yeah, I mean, because I've heard that it can be dangerous, and I'm just wondering if y'all knew anything about that, so that you could kind of analyze it and make sure that I wasn't crippling myself with something that was supposed to be good if it wasn't mixed with the other thing.
Eddie, that's a great question and a legitimate concern that we do deal with every day. So legally, Jennifer and I at my store and most stores cannot, even if we might have the information, we're not allowed to tell you per se specifically about the drug interactions. Only a pharmacist like Dr. Scheib, who has a show after me, can do that, or like a pharmacist or a doctor.
Okay.
So, but I will tell you that there's a lot of great apps and websites that do that for you. So if you type in your prescriptions, and most people, unless you have a very unusual situation, are on the same thing. The Nexium, the blood pressure, the cholesterol, sometimes blood thinners. Normally the masses are on those same drugs. So those things we can say if you come in the store personally, not over the air. I can definitely, use certain lingo to guide you. But most of my things, because that's why I have a very limited of isolated nutrients, because isolated nutrients is when you start getting into trouble if you overtake them. So I'm very careful about what I carry, that it's the very safe ones and the food-based ones, so you don't get that toxicity level.
Okay, great. One more
Sure.
quick thing, then I'll
Go
let
ahead.
you go on your break. How about the vitamin B12 now? I've requested to get a shot for that because I'm sure that I'm lacking on it.
Well,
So,
Eddie, Just so you know, if you can stay listening, the whole second half of the show is pretty much on B12, because that's one of the one that gets me the most mad about people thinking the shot is the only alternative, and they buy other kinds that aren't good. So I think I'll be able to answer your question on the whole half of the show.
Hey, great. And you have the good B12 in bottles at your store.
It's the only one I sell. I don't have any of the bad one.
Okay, I'll let you go. Thank you. You've been very helpful.
Thank you, Eddie. Have a great day. All right, so we will be right back, and I kind of already gave the hint what the second part is about. And so, again, synthetic vitamins, not such a great deal. And so we're trying to teach all the listeners how to pick the healthier versions.
Plus, guys, listen, you can learn a little bit of something about menopause with V12, because it can give you some hot flashes if you don't know what that is.
You sound like you have personal experience with this one, Cliff.
I have got a lot of experience with menopause.
Yeah, just watch your words if you're going to discuss it around me,
no,
okay?
I'm going to be all ears in the second half of this show, Joanne.
All right.
You're listening to Joanne's World of Nutrition, and Joanne Seeger will be right back.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
And now back to Joanne's World of Nutrition with Joanne Seeger.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning. I really appreciate all my listeners. And just like Eddie, anyone can call in and ask any questions related to health or supplements. I would love to hear from my listeners. So like I kind of gave hint to, we are going to be talking about B12 at length. But before we talk about B12, I need to cover about one more thing with your relationship with your doctors. So for many, many years, people in the supplement business or the nutrition field will hear that their doctor said, oh, never take this, never take this. This is, terrible. This can kill you, and all these things, okay? So for instance, for many years, doctors said that about, let's say, D3. Okay, so D3, never take it, dangerous, never take even a drop. Now they're recommending 50,000 IUs and more. Magnesium, next point of fact, never take it, dangerous. Again, now suggesting huge doses, okay? Calcium, my favorite one, they didn't want anyone to take it. You don't need it. Just drink more milk, just do more dairy. Well, that didn't work, so then they started suggesting huge doses of calcium, especially they were doing calcium by itself. They didn't care what form. They were saying Tums, and do you know our osteoporosis is off the charts? Osteopenia happening to younger and younger people, and our calcium consumption is higher than any other country. So just to give you an idea, yes, I believe in supplements, but not the way that they're being taught. They're being first they're naysayed, and then all of a sudden insurance covers a scan of that one nutrient, and then you're found deficient, and then they pump you up at real high levels, and then your body doesn't stay in homeostasis, and imbalances occur. So B12 is the one that's really hot. Everyone's deficient. Everyone needs these really high doses, and then all of a sudden people aren't really feeling that much better. They get hyped up like they would on an energy drink, and then they drop low. So isolating nutrients, picking apart your body as if one thing will be the cure-all or the fix-all is not the right way to approach it. But unfortunately, your doctors were not educated in this field. It takes years. Well, it never ends, the learning cycle for supplements, because everything is changing and growing and evolving, especially because it's at the hand of people's choices of where their sources are coming from, how they manufacture them. It's all involved in this industry. So unfortunately, these doctors do not have the time after their years of training how to know every single part inside a human body and how to break it down, and they don't have the time. It's two different fields. So if we think of prevention and think of the body as one beautiful thing that is all connected and works together, then we can guide you, with the people that have the right experience to get the supplements that work together synergistically, and they're not isolates, they're not synthetic, and they're not going to create more imbalance in the body. So before we discuss B12, I want to cover vitamin C. My vitamin C section in my store is, no joke, maybe 12 inches wide, which means maybe like 4 different SKUs. If you go to some other stores or even the big box stores, you'll see 60 selections. The reason why is because here in the United States, most vitamin C, even good brands, are coming from ascorbic acid. The ascorbic acid that we are using now is from genetically modified corn syrup. And if any of this news is shocking to people, I am really sorry. This is a norm for the industry, and it has been for a long time, even before GMO. So corn now is, most of it, if not all of it, is genetically modified. But before, they used to use just corn in general, and it wasn't so bad. It was just from fresh corn. Now it's from the cheapest, most genetically modified corn syrup. So there are a couple companies like Garden of Life, Mega Food, that use natural superfoods made that have a lot of natural vitamin C occurring in them. So, for instance, like Linus Pauling is the best reference people give for why they take so much vitamin C. They'd be like, well, he took, 100,000 milligrams a day, and, he cured cancer, or he never got sick, and that is all true. But that was back in the 1930s, before everything was really polluted, and he sourced out his vitamin C from small little red peppers. So he did food form C. There is still food form C available. Like I have Garden of Life's raw C. But just so you know, if you're getting 1,000 milligram vitamin C, or you're buying these great big bottles from the big box stores, it's made from genetically modified corn syrup. So I don't know about you, but I'm not putting that in my body, because that's a reason the bodies get sick, is from GMOs, especially corn syrup. We have enough of that in our diets. So please make a good choice. And I just want you to be aware so you can make your own choice and take control of your choices. If you still decide to get it, okay, but I just want you to be aware of what the manufacturers are doing. All right, the other thing, I think, what was the other big one? All right, so, calcium. Okay, so with calcium I mentioned before, so the body really has a tough time doing any calcium source like Tums, calcium carbonate. I always used to joke it's like going outside and licking sidewalk material. You'll probably absorb more from the stones in the sidewalk than you would from the pills. I wish that was really sarcasm, but it's the truth. So there is sources now from sea mineral beds that you can buy, definitely much more money. So the truth that I feel, do not take calcium unless you can afford the absorbable types. So you'll see it at my store. It's called plant calcium. Some stores it's called raw calcium. But again, if you see fancy labels that say bone health or natural, that doesn't mean anything. Calcium carbonate can be called natural because it's rocks from the ground. So they can call it natural. So really be very aware of where your minerals come from. And in nature, no minerals are isolated. All the minerals are hanging out together. Your calcium, your magnesium, your manganese, your iron, vanadium, all selenium, all those things are together for a reason. Our bones are these beautiful living structures that are constantly needing strength exercises and nourishment and water. So if you give it one nutrient, it's going to think something's wrong. It's going to say, hey, it's kind of like showing up for Christmas and you leave your kids back at home. It seems weird, right? It's like, hello, where are the rest of the family? It's the same thing. If you show up calcium by itself, it's going to be like, wait, let me put you back into the bloodstream until you come back with the rest of the gang. And then when it's sitting around the bloodstream, oh, there's gallstones, kidney stones, plaque, not happy. So isolated nutrients will cause more harm than good, okay? So remember to take the whole gang or don't take it at all. You're better off doing some push-ups and eating some dark bitter leafy greens than taking a calcium supplement. And that's it from an owner of a vitamin store. All right, so before we run out of time, B12, like I promised Eddie. So now B12 is a tricky one, okay? Because B12 now is being tested by most insurance companies. As soon as you feel run down, they're like, oh, let me check your B12, even though it could be 5 billion other reasons in your lifestyle that you're tired. But B12 is extremely important in the human body. It gives us energy. It helps prevent brain diseases. It's your red blood cells, your hemoglobin, your body's energy. It literally protects every single nerve cell in your body. It helps the metabolism of fats. I mean, I could go on and on. B12 is critical for almost every single function in the human body. So now we have been given in most stores B12 that says sublingual. So right away, most consumers are like, oh, sublingual. Okay, that means under the tongue. So that must be the good kind that absorbs right away. Well, unfortunately, it's not. So the type that's most commonly sold in regular stores is called cyanocobalamin. Now, that is not the type that absorbs right away, and it doesn't matter if it's a liquid, it's a gummy, it's a sublingual. It will have to go through your digestive system, and it is the cheapest form, synthetic form of vitamin B12. So if you wonder why you take it and you don't feel great, and what unfortunately that synthetic one will do is almost act like caffeine. It will give you a surge. It will give you a rush. And people are like, oh, I love this B12. It's changing my life. But it doesn't do all those other great things that B12 is supposed to do, like help stop anemia, help build up your hemoglobin, help your nerve cells be protected with your myelin sheath. So you want to get methylcobalamin. So just remember M, okay? methylcobalamin. We just normally abbreviate it to the methyl form. So methyl does not go through the digestive system. That will go into your body and look for where it can help. It looks for the deficiencies. It looks for where it can repair. Yes, you still get energy. And I definitely suggest making sure you start lower. We do sell up to 10,000 because once again, doctors will be like, oh, take 10,000 3 times a day, you know, but that's not necessary. The key is absorption. And that's why you don't necessarily have to go in once a month and get this heavy duty injection of a nutrient that's never needed in such an influx. Take 1,000 milligrams, do it under your tongue, again, true methyls, and do it a few times a day. And if you're really that deficient, by a blood test. But if you have not got a blood test and you're kind of thinking, well, I might need B12, it is definitely possible that you do. You can just do 1,000 and see how you feel after a month. You know, the body can do a lot with a little. You don't need to totally overwhelm it with isolated nutrients, okay? And then there's the question like, well, I'm a vegan, so I must need a lot of B12. This, unfortunately, is a myth, and it's not anywhere close to the truth. B12 deficiency is at an epidemic level in America, and most Americans consume animal foods. So right there, that myth is broken. So there's very few vegans against the animal foods consumers, and B12 deficiency is at an all-time high. So there's 2 factors, okay? We are not eating the right plant foods to help the absorption if we're vegan. So if a vegan is deficient, it's not because they're abstaining from meat. It's because they're living on starches or sugars like the rest of America and not getting the good, healthy vegetables into their diet. If you eat plant foods that are full of green pigment, you're going to get lots of B12 and it will absorb. But the other problem is for both types, if you have inflammatory gut issues and your digestive system is weak and you're not chewing your food and breaking down the celluloses and starches in your mouth, you're just going to have absorption problems in general. So again, no one thing will answer all the issues. You cannot, not from a doctor, not from a holistic practitioner, not from a health food store, grab one bottle, no matter what that bottle promises, and get all the answers. You have to balance it out with the whole program. And I have a question from my husband over the text message. And I'm not sure what he means. Oh, he's saying vitamin C, green peppers too, I guess he's asking. But the study was done on red peppers. I was trained many, many years ago when I went to school not to eat nightshades, which green peppers are in that family. They say that they really have more negatives than positives. The vitamin C content, amla sea berries, which like are gooseberries, definitely the highest in vitamin C, and red bell peppers, really any superfoods. I sell and consume at my house, and it's called fruits powder. So because so much organic produce is so expensive sometimes, especially when you get it primed, especially berries. Organic strawberries, blueberries, absolutely delicious, but a little pricey. So I buy a concentrated freeze-dried powder called Fruits, and it's wonderful. You can add it into smoothies, shakes, or just water to flavor it. And then you get all the vitamin C naturally. So that's why I don't take ascorbic acid, not only because it's isolated, synthetic, and dangerous, but the fruits give me all my vitamin C and lots of other nutrients and absolutely taste delicious without artificial colors or sweeteners. So Matt, hope I answered that question and anyone else's. All right, so B12, I kind of lost track for a second there. All right, so B12 is definitely methylcobalamin that you want to take. Calcium, do not isolate anymore. Take a formula that's food-based or whole food, and from like sea mineral beds or examples like that. I have Garden of Life's plant calcium, and we sell Garden of Life every day, 20% off. So to me, it's very economical. It gives you that peace of mind, and our body needs nutrients. It is a proven fact to work. If we do not have nutrients, our bodies start breaking down. And sometimes it's a very small amount each and every day, and we don't see it until we're getting later in life, in our late 30s, early 40s. But please don't wait. We all need nutrients. You would never starve your infant and say, oh, it's okay, I'll just give them a loaf of bread. It's the same amount of calories. No, you never would. You make sure they get the healthy fats, the water, the vitamins, the minerals. Well, we still are our infants, but just a lot bigger. We still need everything. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, call the store, 464-3598, and have an awesome week, everybody.
You've been listening to Joanne's World of Nutrition with Joanne Seeger. Be sure to visit her soon at Nutrition World, US 1 between Orange Avenue and Avenue A, directly across the street from Fort Pierce City Hall in the historic Arcade Building. Be sure to visit Nutrition World soon. And listen in for Joanne's World of Nutrition every Thursday morning at 10:05. Archives of this show can be found at WPSLTV.com on YouTube. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, celebrating 25 years and counting.